Good afternoon. Welcome to Talent Treasures. This is our opportunity to talk about the Clifton Strengths 34 profile. And these are conversations we're having with friends who have experienced this instrument, and gives us a little opportunity to share about each person's top talent. And I'm Nancy Mackey with Open Gate Consulting. I've long been a passionate believer in the Clifton Strengths 34. I really have enjoyed how seeing it just in my own development as an individual and how it can be applied with teams. And joining us today is my friend Jake Newman. Welcome, Jake.
Hi, Nancy. Thanks.
Thanks so much for taking time out of your busy day today. We really appreciate it. And Jake, your top talent is connectedness, which is it's considered one of the relator themes. And I want to read a couple statements about connectedness, and then we'll start in on how that plays out for you. But people high in the talent of connectedness have a real strong sense of the links among all things. And you tend to believe there are few coincidences and that almost every event has meaning. And when it's your top talent, I liken it almost to breathing. It's just something we don't even think about consciously. And maybe that's true for you. But as you think about that talent for connectedness and connections, tell me a little bit about how that plays out in your day.
I think, I agree, like you said, that it's a bit of like breathing. So I would say more of an art than a science, if you will. When you use that phrase, I think what I think about is, big picture. So a point of view that incorporates, the larger organizational goals, then sort of underneath that, the goals of each department that we might work in. And then, perhaps most importantly, when you think about, what it takes to get something done from the ground up, it's the people and their individual talents, and how they can kind of help us accomplish those goals.
Yeah.
It's really sort of having like a universal view of it, understanding, different stakeholders and what their individual goals are, what their department goals are, and then, really a big picture. How does the organization tap those talents to kind of put one big puzzle together?
Yeah. Yeah. It seems almost very strategic.
Yeah, I think so. I mean, there's strategy, and then there's individuals and sort of the human side of the work that you do every day.
Yeah, when I was reviewing some of the parameters of connectedness, one of the other things that jumped out was that you're a belief of this being part of something bigger than self. And so you must have a real visionary, real sense of mission and purpose. Does that ring true for you?
I think that, personally, that's important to me. Like anybody, you get up in the morning, and on any given day, you have, 100%. Some days you have 80%. And the thing that can kind of get you through on those days that you maybe have less than maximum is this idea that you're connected to a larger mission, right? You understand, where you fit into the place that the organization is working for. What is that sort of core fundamental value that the organization stands for? What is the work that we're doing? How does it relate to the world? Many of us choose to do work in different sort of industries. And, if you're lucky, the work that you're doing with this organization really resonates with you personally.
Yeah.
So that thread, that idea that you're a part of something bigger, that there's a goal that you personally believe in, that it is aligned with what the organization's work is, it, for someone like me, is really critical.
Yeah. Do you find that other people notice this talent in you? I mean, it may play out in different ways, but do you get comments from people sometimes that resonate with you?
I mean, I hope that it resonates for them. When we talk about this, I can tell you that it's that kind of statement, that kind of characters feels really important to me. This idea that everybody knows that, at the end of the day, the work that I'm trying to do, and if my team that I work with or help manage, if they can get that from me, that's really important. that you know, that energy, is shared out to everybody else.
Mm-hmm.
I wouldn't speak for anybody else, but I can tell you that, on a day-to-day, that's sort of the direction that I like to give.
Yeah. Yeah. Is there anything particular as a leader that you find helps you in motivating people? Any specific things that you do that you think might be related to your connectedness talent?
I mean, I think it's just about, as I said in the beginning, understanding the individuals, right? And
Right.
and just giving them guidance and reminding them that they belong to this
Mm-hmm.
mission, and that what they're doing matters, that, everybody is a part of a larger sort of goal, that,
Yeah.
I think that as it does for me, changes the context of what you're doing every day. So I hope that, my goal is to kind of lead that way,
Yeah.
that folks feel like, this isn't just a job, but it's a project, and that we were working on together.
Yeah.
So, it's not, you're not doing something because you have to, but you're doing
Right.
something because you want to.
Yeah. Yeah. That's awesome. Well, I wonder if, sometimes we think about applying our talents to when we have to solve a problem. And that's a really good way of using this instrument, right? Thinking about how do I leverage what I'm good at when I'm faced with a problem. So if you imagine yourself with a big challenge in front of you, how might you use your connectedness talent for that?
Oof, that's a good question. Um, yeah, I mean, look, I said one of the most important things when you're faced with a challenge is, reminding yourself that your job is not to panic, right? To
Yeah.
not, lose sight of, the context for everything that you do. So I think just projecting that calm,
Hmm.
and that, there are times when being able to step back, look at the big picture, say, okay, this is a pothole. This is
Hmm.
something that we have to deal with. But, when you understand that there's a big project going on and this is just a piece of it, hopefully the balance here is, let's not panic. Let's not get, out of our heads about this.
Yeah.
There are a lot of moving pieces. It's just one of them. Everybody take a deep breath. You know that you're a part of a team, that everybody here wants you to have success.
Yeah.
Um, that that calm, that sense of community, that connection to something larger. Um, you want people to be relaxed, figure out the problem, come together as a team, understand that we all have different skills,
Yeah.
tackle that moment, but not panic. I think sometimes, you can feel like I have to fix everything, that I'm on my own. And, if you feel like you're a part of a team, and then sort of percolating out of that, part of a bigger mission, that can be calming.
Yeah. Yeah. And what a nice presence for other people, right? When you're in a really stressful environment, to have somebody that can at least project that calm. And
Right.
one of the things that's really fun for me is because I heard you just say this in your response, but as I was reviewing the connectedness prior to our call, one of the things it says it's a key feature of people high in connectedness is that calming presence. And you brought it up, without even knowing it. So it just again ties into what the instrument really picked up within you as
Right.
well.
Right.
So yeah,
And, part of that's sort of how you naturally are. And then another one is
right,
hard earned experience that,
right,
you're still here today, whatever,
right,
whatever you think is, the end all be all in that very moment,
right.
get a little bit older, you just learn that
There's some value in those
it's
hard
gonna be
moments
okay. We'll make it
and
through.
scars. Yeah,
Yeah. Yeah.
exactly. Well, I'm wondering, does connectedness ever get in your way? That's another way to look at these talent themes, because they are certainly things that help us to be better and stronger in our daily, interactions with people, but they can also be things that if they're overused can sometimes get in our way or misused. Have you ever experienced maybe where that kind of
Well, I
presents a
think,
barrier?
the downside, I guess, or the challenge that presents is, you're a little bit too big picture, right? You're a
Yeah.
little bit too positive, and then, you don't want to take that and, do two things. One would be, undermine the pressure and that folks might be feeling. And it's okay, don't worry about it. Well, people are like,
Right.
look, I care, and this is something that isn't going right, and you need to be able to relate to that as well.
For sure.
And then the other thing is, if you're too big picture, you miss the
Mhm.
minutia, right? So really getting in there and um, understanding how the machine works and the specific levers that need to get pulled.
Yeah.
Uh, Ultimately, that benefits you. Ultimately, you feel more connected to your team when you understand those things. So yeah, you got to have it kind of both ways. But I can
Yeah.
see how if you lean too far into one side, you can lose contact or sort of credibility with your team.
Right.
Um,
Right.
but you know, you can take that strength and you can use it to how you build a team, right? So you
Right.
can know that, hey, this is what I'm good at. I can't have everybody thinking that way specifically. We want to have sort of degrees of people thinking that way.
Yeah.
So you really do need people that can dig into that Excel spreadsheet and kind
For
of
sure.
crunch data and, do all the things that maybe, someone at sort of a high level connectedness isn't focused in on as much.
Right. Right. Yeah. You just touched on a key feature, which is learning how to manage around the
Mhm.
the barrier side of our strengths. And yeah, a lot of that is just leveraging the strengths of other people. So
Yeah.
yeah, for sure. For sure.
Yeah.
Well, and it's another interesting thing about the Clifton Strengths 34 is a lot of these themes have some similarities to them. So we like to sometimes do a contrast. So I wanted to contrast connectedness. I'm going to read two statements for you: connectedness and then the includer. And so people high in connectedness might say something like, I am aware of the inherent invisible unity that already exists. And someone high in includer might say, I am aware of the inherent invisible social exclusion that often exists. So people high in includer want to make sure people are included. So how do you think, how does that resonate with you at all as you think about connectedness versus someone who's more of an includer
Hmm.
talent?
I haven't thought about it
Yeah,
specifically in that way.
it's a tough one.
Yeah, that's tricky. I mean, yeah, I think about right now, we're bringing on a couple new team members, and um, you know, sort of on the on ramp for them, especially we have a relatively small team, my department, um, making sure that there's, that those people sort of grow into the family of our team, very
Hmm.
tight knit team. That's important, right? That
Yeah.
there are those personal relationships, and that that's really the first thing that we think about when we bring that new person in is that idea that they feel like they have a sense of how we work together, how everybody interrelates with each other. Once that's built, and that then breeds trust, and once there's trust there, people need to feel like they can say, I don't understand how to do this, or can you help me? And so the more that they feel close and safe with each other, that I think that echoes out into the rest of the
Yeah.
work that we do.
Yeah. You just build that naturally. You're not even thinking about it, but it's just happening because of the way you are, I imagine. Yeah.
Try to.
What what um what do you need like from your leaders as far as what helps you thrive in your connectedness?
Yeah, I think a little bit back to what I was saying a few minutes ago about
Hmm.
helping me balance those two,
Hmm.
that leveraging my strength, encouraging it, celebrating this sort of idea of being able to think about universal connections that we have up and down the organization. But I want my leaders to challenge me to grow and keep an eye on the other stuff, right? So,
Hmm.
um, I look to them to say, hey, I see you. There's always like this balance between, um, like I said, like, hey, you have these strength, I have this sort of natural strengths to this big picture connectedness thing, but I do really need to be focused in on the day to day. And so
Right.
I look to my leader to do that same thing that I talked about doing with my team, right?
Yeah.
Keeping me balanced, making sure that I understand not just what I'm doing or what my team is doing, but really the more you can understand the the tactical work, the day-to-day work that other teams are doing,
Yeah.
the better you're going to be. So I just look to my leaders to kind of do what I think I try to do for my team, right?
Yeah. Yeah. And is it hard when you don't get that kind of?
Sure. Yeah.
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 Yeah. Yeah. It's tough when we're not able to express our talents or not getting what we need
Hmm.
to be able to, yeah, thrive. So, well, do you have any words of kind of final words of encouragement for other folks that are high in connectedness and navigating the world, or words of
I mean,
wisdom?
one of the things that I've loved about working with you is having being able to sort of crystallize what my strengths might be, and celebrate those and lean into those. So, um, you know, if there's sort of a natural ability in that space, let's start from there, right? Let's celebrate that. Let's use that as a building block to all the other things. For me, starting with that strength and then being able to talk about where there are opportunities in other areas, that me more comfortable with that. Made me feel like, okay, look, whatever it is that's my core strength is the thing to use to start from, and you know, building from there made it safe, made me feel like, okay, I can take some chances because I understand sort of what foundationally, or what's foundational for how I fit into
Yeah.
the. So that sense of like, knowing who you are, uh, then allows you to say, well, here's how I want to grow, right?
Yeah. That's awesome. That's wonderful, Jake. Yeah, this has been a real pleasure. And I know you're a busy fellow, so I really appreciate you taking the time out of your day to share these insights with us. Thank you so much.
Oh, thanks.
Okay.